what are your kind of overall thoughts on all the marketing jargon that there is out there, SEO, CRMs, KPIs, CTAs, and when we talk about these things, and I find it myself sometimes, it kind of almost creates a language barrier. I know what I'm talking about, but I forget I'm talking to a non-marketing client.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on kind of this whole universe of language that we have as marketers versus, we still have to be personable to clients?
Yeah, 100%. That's so important. And particularly with our niche, a lot of the founders of these companies, they've worked their way up on the tools. And so they're not necessarily computer people. Um, so yeah, you got to really avoid all the jargon and acronyms and so on. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm really intentional in using the minimum amount of jargon and just try to relate to them at where they're at as well. So that's when you're working with the founder. Sometimes I'm coming
Right.
alongside marketing managers within a company, and so that's a whole different conversation. So
Right.
while
Yeah, yeah.
it's producing the same outcome, it's kind of a whole different conversation, and everyone's at different points as well. Sometimes they're really quite junior at marketing, so you need to support them in a greater way so they look fantastic to their boss. That's
Right. Yeah.
realistically what it is. Yeah. So yeah, it's yeah, but we're happy to support in any way. But I
Yeah,
think I'm
absolutely.
naturally sort of down to earth, pragmatic in my communication anyway. So that's probably
That
partly why
helps.
I did really well with the niche that we,
Yeah.
we serve. They're kind of hands-on, practical, um, to the point people as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think that kind of rings true as well to other, like, I don't want to call them home services because construction can be residential or commercial. So I'm not sure what the umbrella term is for, like,
Yeah,
but them also, like, HVAC, painters,
yeah,
things like people in those kinds of positions have a similar take. They're much more hands on, much more practical. So there has to
yeah,
be consideration of how, again, just to make the jargon a lot more personable. And so
yeah,
on the flip side, though, marketing is such a saturated world. There are so many solutions out there. People have any
yeah,
multitude of special angles or special personas that they push to sell their services over somebody else. So when you're
yeah.
building your business, what was kind of your perception of that prospect, how you're going to cut through that noise and really kind of establish yourself as someone who stands out for construction companies, especially.
Yeah, well, I suppose the more the conversations are around them and not us, I mean, the better it always goes. And
Hmm.
when you're working in a niche, and I mean, Australia is a little bit different where because we're a smaller population and
Yeah.
smaller business, so I niched not as tightly as you probably could in the States,
Mm.
for example, where you can get super. I know people get super niched in just HVAC, for example. So
Yeah.
one segment of what we would look after here. So it depends on where you're at and so on. But the more you work with a niche, the more you understand their language. So that's half the battle. Just to understand, because every industry has the lingos and acronyms and all this that they just start to use without realizing other people don't understand. So
Yeah.
that's the power of niching. You get to understand them quicker and get the results faster. And so you kind of learn how to communicate your own skill set and how that fits in with what they want to achieve, which is really helpful too.
Yeah, that's a really good point.